Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today we're talking about ghosts in your house. That's right. Today we're kind of talking about how do you know there's a ghost in the house? And there's a couple of ways, and I'm going to go over a few of them. And if you have the majority of these, most likely you have a ghost in your house. So we're going to talk about this. So I will say, if you feel like in certain areas you'll feel kind of strange or creepy feelings, or like someone's watching you, or kind of, sometimes people even say like they'll feel like someone's judging them, kind of in its energy. And so it's kind of like you'll feel something but you're not quite sure, but it's only in certain areas that you'll find this in your home. I will say the next one is kind of like smelling like weird smells. If no one smokes in your house and then all of a sudden you have like this smell of cigarette smoke, it's like, that's kind of interesting. Or if you have like an odor like rotten eggs, or kind of just weird odors that normally would not be in your house, that's when you know. Sometimes ghosts will even have like a smell of perfume. So if a ghost was known for wearing a special perfume, you might smell that and you're like, wow, I'm smelling Jordache cologne, or I'm smelling Chanel No. 5 or whatever it is, and you're kind of like, this is really interesting. The last one I smelled was Polo cologne. It was one of those I was like, I know the name of this one. What is it? And that's why I knew. I was like, okay, I know kind of what area you're from because of your cologne. So we started getting rid of that one. It was really funny. If you feel or smell comforting scents. My grandmother loved roses, and so whenever I feel her around me, I will also pick up the fragrance of roses. Not like fresh cut roses out of a florist boutique or something like that. It's kind of more like just roses outside, so kind of like a very faint rose smell. And I will tell you, it's very comforting. So these are kind of comforting ones. Sometimes you'll have a smell that will kind of invoke a memory, like me, the rose smell. Sometimes it'll be having pipe smoke, or sometimes it's, like I said, a special perfume. You'll be like, oh wow, that smells like my grandmother. Sometimes odors from your grandmother's house, or aunt and uncle that's passed, or whatever else. You'll be like, wow, that smells like their house. And that's when you know it's like, it just makes you feel like home. It makes you feel special and loved. And that's kind of one of those interesting ones. The next one is hearing sounds of like whispering voices. Like you can hear them usually, but you can't understand what they're saying. So it's like you can hear someone talking, but when you really think about it, it's like I can't really make out what they're saying. I can kind of hear like voices, but I can't hear the words. That's usually a sign that there's a ghost in the house. And usually that they're trying to get your attention in some way. They're trying to tell you something. I will say this is usually kind of some interesting energy that comes in some different ways. And you'll just kind of like, I'm feeling or hearing like weird sounds, or it sounds like someone's doing the same activity over and over again. And those are kind of like just those sounds that keep coming back. Now that can be something that's already stuck in the house, but it could also be something that's like a spirit that doesn't really have an intelligence to it. The next one is lights that flash on and off. Sometimes this will be really an interesting one, my husband and I's lighting in our bedroom are like joined together through an Alexa plug, yet like his will go off but mine won't, or mine will go off and his won't. And so that's when I know, like, okay, there's a ghost in the house because they're playing with the electricity. You will also have them come at you with some very interesting energy sometimes, of kind of like playing one light on or one light off, or the radio turns on by itself. And it's usually not like really loud, but it's like just loud enough where you can hear it. And it's kind of like their way of getting your attention. So that's kind of like, interesting. The next one is cold temperatures. Now, this is one that I really have a hard time with, because on TV, whenever they're trying to show that like there's a ghost in the house, like the person will breathe out like, the condensed air, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, literally like almost like smoke. Well, it's usually not like that. You'll just have like one area that you're just kind of like, it's a little bit cooler here. And I tell people, really think about it. And can you debunk this? Is the vent of the air conditioning pointed right at you, or is there a ceiling fan right at you? If you can kind of debunk it pretty quickly, it's not a ghost. But if you can't, like the air conditioner's off, there's no fans on, this can be one that can be that energy, because a ghost is going to take the energy from the surrounding areas and really bring it into them. This will also kind of happen sometimes. They will kind of like zap the battery out of your phone, your batteries in your camera, something like that. Kind of like all of a sudden, like there's no juice at all. I get this a lot in our bedroom sometimes, like the TV remote control will go dead really, really fast. And it's kind of like, okay, we just put new batteries in like a month ago and they're already dead. Where the last ones lasted like 6 months to a year. And so that's when you kind of know, like, okay, somebody's hijacking this energy from me. I will tell you, the next one is kind of like lights coming on, TV on, electrical devices being turned on or off. And this can be an energy, a ghost kind of pulling that energy source from them. And usually it's kind of their way of like, look at me, talk to me, I'm trying to get this message to you. So that can be a really interesting energy of kind of like they're turning things on and off, because it's kind of like, I want you to listen to me, I have something to tell you. The next one is like you'll see something out of the corner of your eye, and that's usually where a lot of people will see ghosts. Like you'll see a motion out of the corner of your eye, and then you kind of, when you look at it, all of a sudden they're gone. Well, they're not really gone. It's one of those, just your senses have changed. So kind of like if you see it kind of off in the distance, you're kind of like, I saw something over here, and then you turn and look and there's nothing there. Usually that means you have a ghost in the house. The next one is missing objects. Things that you normally put away in certain places, you always put them there. Like this is my, where I put my keys or my dog's leash or whatever it is, and you go back and it's like, it's gone. Like, where did it go? And so that's kind of one of those interesting ones. And usually you'll find them in places that are very odd. It's like you normally put your keys on your keyboard, and then in a day or so you're like, I can't find my keys, where are they? And all of a sudden you'll find them like underneath the sofa, and you're like, who put them underneath the sofa? Why is that? That's really strange. And so that can be that energy of kind of them letting you know that things are being moved, adjusted, and that sort of thing. One of the things that I think is really interesting that can be kind of a great one to kind of let you know, it's kind of like just taking the time when you first walk in your house, when there's no one been home for a while, just kind of like walking into your space and kind of just kind of grounding your energy, taking a few deep breaths, and how does it feel in that space? And that will kind of tell you if it's like a ghost that you need to get rid of, or is it just family members. So either way, it might give you some insight into what's going on around you. So that's kind of one of those, I walked in and I felt very happy and joyful and felt at home. It's probably just a family member. Doesn't mean they still don't have a message. They might, but it's one of those, at least you know it's not a bad ghost or anything like that. Where on the other hand, if you walk in and you kind of feel like, this energy doesn't feel well, or I feel like I need to get out of here, or I feel overwhelmed, that sort of thing, that's when you know it's kind of a ghost that you picked up that has probably some bad energy with it, and is ready to kind of be let go of at some point. So that's kind of just the way it works. And it doesn't mean that like every ghost in your house you need to get rid of. Like I said, a lot of times like it's family members that you have passed, just kind of stopping by to give you a message or tell you something that's coming up, especially if you ask for information. Sometimes I'll hear that from clients, like, I was really asking my grandmother to give me a message, and then I started seeing things and I'm like, oh my gosh, Well, but you just asked her to give you a message. Hello, listen to her message. That's kind of the fun part, is listening to those messages and kind of like, what does she have to say, and what is her message for you? So let's do some angel cards and get us a little bit more insight into, is your house haunted? The first one that's coming forward is this is the 5th house, and this is all about passion and kind of, they usually have like this passionate energy to kind of get you the messages that you're asking them. So it's kind of like, you asked this question and now I'm going to all of this way to kind of get you that message. So really listen to those and kind of, what are those messages all about? This is Uranus, and this is about change. When you feel the energy shifting in your house or kind of feel things come up, go through the list that I just gave you and kind of like, am I checking most of these off? If you are, most likely your house is haunted in some way. Doesn't mean that you need to move out or go away or anything else. It just may mean that you need to take some time or go to a psychic and kind of get that message from them. Like, I'm hearing something from my grandmother or my grandfather, or someone else, and I really choose to hear their message. And so that can be a really great one. This is all about retrogrades, and this is all about reviewing. If you have asked for a message, know that they're going to do whatever it takes, and they're going to keep going over and over and over and over, and they're going to keep reviewing that message with you until you kind of like answer it, or kind of like, okay, I got the message. It's kind of like if you don't check your voicemail on your phone, it kind of keeps popping up like, hey, you still have a new voicemail. It's like, okay, eventually I do need to check that and kind of see what they really have to tell me back. This one is about the sun, and this is the source. You are their source. They're coming to see you. They're coming to talk to you or gift you a message in some way, shape, or form. So this is a really good one, is, are you getting the messages? Are you getting those messages from source? And if they're coming from a family member, heck yes, they're coming from source, and they are coming to gift you the message that you've asked them to give you, or kind of the information back, or should I start this, or should I do this, or should I go here, or should I go there? They're answering your question, but you've just really got to listen to that, or get that message from them. This is about solar calm, and this is all about clarifying. A lot of times I will have clients that will say, okay, I just need a quick few minute meditation or message to get from my clients or my family members on the other side. And so they will tell me, I want to go into meditation. I want to hear it for myself, but I also want you to reiterate it back to me, kind of like, what is the message they're giving me? And usually they're usually pretty close, kind of almost word for word. Exactly what they got in their meditation is exactly what I'll tell them. So that's kind of a fun one. This is Sagittarius, and this is all about expanding. If you are expanding your kind of your base of how you're getting your information, and using your family members to answer some questions you have, make sure you're expanding and opening up to receiving their messages, and opening that energy of, I'm ready to hear this message. I'm ready to get that confirmed for me. This is the midhaven, and this is all about the pinnacle, kind of like the height of it. The more questions you ask, the more that will come through, and the more likely they're going to stop by and just say, hey, how's it going? What's new with you? That sort of thing. So they're really, really on there. I usually in a meditation love connecting with my family members as well, and that can be a really fun one. This is all about Taurus, and this is about cultivating. We are really wanting to cultivate that energy and those messages from our family members on the other side. Like, why else wouldn't they want to talk to us? Why else wouldn't they want to gift us the answers of the questions we're asking them? So make sure you're cultivating that relationship even on the other side. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.